You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Well, Miss Rusty, what's up, everyone? It is Wednesday, as I figured out just a few minutes ago. Thank you for being here on the Public Access Podcast, the podcast now out of Pennsylvania. It is now the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you're listening on the Anywhere app, whichever you can find, or if you find the Anywhere app, it's close to the Any key. You can find me there. And if you're listening and you're wondering what I look like or what the guest looks like, you can go onto YouTube, check it there. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you go, shit, I hate looking at this guy's face, but I really like his content, you can go to anywhere you listen to podcasts, even your obscure one there, Mr. Hipster. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And it's time for me to bring on my special guest. And I have my special guest right here, right now. And my special guest right here, right now is Camille Virginia back again. What is happening?
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, Camille. So I was like we were talking about earlier. It was a podcast that got lost due to being too cool, too hot for YouTube or something. I don't know what happened.
Right.
There was a number of episodes that I lost, but they all seem to be around the same era. And for some reason, I still have the video versions of all this. I probably have the video versions of most of them, but they're not labeled very well. They're just, I'd have to figure out the date and then go by the data. I could have made things easier a long time ago, but I just chose not to. And now there's no going back.
Well, maybe the properties on the file will tell you the date that it was made, so that might save you that.
I think that's what's gonna be. If I have that, at least I'll be able to figure it out. Because I usually write the date on the podcast that it's recorded. So I have that in there in case something like this happens, some sort of catastrophic event of losing an episode to the YouTube gods, I guess. But yeah, so if you guys want to find the last episode, it's probably literally going to be right under this for anywhere you listen to podcasts, or if you're watching, right under it on YouTube. So it's easy to find. So like that's that all good. So you got the beginnings of up to a little over a year ago of what's happening with Camille. And I mean, because what was happening last time? You were going on your worldwide book signing tour.
Something like that. Yes, virtually. I think that was a few years ago, Rusty.
Yeah, like the end of 2022.
Was it? Oh, I thought it
Yeah.
was longer.
I,
Okay. Yeah. So yes, book is out. Actually, two books because I released a second edition for all audiences. But yeah, so I guess an introduction. I'm Camille Virginia, and I'm an offline dating coach. So if you are sick of the apps and you want to get your social skills back, which everyone is losing, I'm your girl. And we can go anywhere from there. Rusty, what are you thinking? We could talk
Yeah,
about,
well,
you and I have known each other for a long time, so we have a lot to
right.
talk about.
I mean, yeah, it's been I don't know. I was
Oh
thinking
God, are you
about
gonna
this.
say it?
Yeah, like at least like 6 or 7 years when we were about 22 or something.
Right,
Um,
at least like
somewhere right about there. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's been a long time, and like since since we were little kids, since we were 4 years old, and now we're older than 4 years old. So it's been a bit. It's been a bit, and um, yeah, I mean it's it's some wild stuff. There's not a lot of people that I still keep in contact with, so yeah, it's good that you're one of those.
ditto.
Yeah, I went and I saw my one of my friends out in Massachusetts. You remember a guy Russ Wiggin,
Red hair?
Remember? Red hair. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
went and saw him. I hadn't seen him for probably 10, 15 years, and he was living about an hour from me. So I was just like, I think he lives out here. I'll call him up, and drove out over there and saw him, which was kind of cool. But
Wow.
yeah, there's probably like 4 or 5 people that from Westland that I keep in touch with.
Mhm.
That might be probably someone there. But you're one of them. You're one of the 5. But um, yeah, on my hand, on my left hand, I can count them. But yeah. So, but then you were out. Okay, well, hold on. So back to the you said you had like the virtual book visits. So like what's that look like? How does that work? Is that like I don't know, like because I was it during COVID and people like everyone has to tune in or something, or was it like
Kind of. Yeah, it was more so the reason that people do book tours, I've learned, is to, well, maybe not everyone, but a main motivation to do the independent book tours all around the country is to be able to get the those independent bookstores counted for ratings and sales, which then goes and feeds into the New York Times best-selling list, because the New York Times, it's a whole algorithm how they decide what a bestseller is, and you can't just do it on Amazon because they are not a fan of Amazon. They are more, traditional. So you have to have a number of book sales throughout these independent bookstores. So that's why people do book tours. So that wasn't my goal. I was like, hey, if I go viral, I'll take it. And hit the list. But that did not happen, and I did not have the resources, because a lot of most New York Times bestsellers are years in the making and millions of dollars in the making. So, um, yeah, I did a talk that your sister actually came to, and her husband, at Annie Bloom's bookstore in Portland, and I launched to my email list, and so it was pre-COVID when my first book came out. It was fall 2019, but it still just made the most sense for what I wanted to do, which was just reach a lot of people around the world. So I did it just kind of virtually.
yeah, and I mean that's kind of with anything, like it's a good lesson to learn at some point that you see numbers on stuff like 98, 99%, that's being generous, is kind of bullshit anyway, for some reason, or any poll. Like, I mean, those things, everything's kind of always skewed to fit something. So like, like people who say, I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen Amazon bestseller, and it's like, well, why? But like, what'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do? I'm like, because there's certain criteria, like you only have to have it for like a few hours, like this little tiny window of time, and people just go and spam the shit out of it and buy a bunch of books, probably return them afterwards, but just go and buy a whole bunch right then, tell everybody. And so it's like it's more about the quality. It's not about, I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to put a little seal on there that says seller, and who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to have that? But it's sort of like the verified thing on social media. Like
Oh
what's it
yeah.
really matter?
It
Who
doesn't that doesn't
what
mean anything anymore.
right, yeah, it doesn't do anything. It just sort of becomes, I feel, money that could be spent elsewhere, but I don't
Yeah,
know, because
and
I feel there's,
time
yeah,
and
money.
everything. There's a great
Yeah,
quote by Jon Snow from Game of Thrones who says, "When enough people start making false promises, words stop meaning anything."
that's a good point. That's
Kind of
a
where we
good
live right now.
yeah. And I mean, it's like, I don't know, and then getting your workout, and getting your book out. Because I mean, you had a publisher, which was cool. You didn't have to like, because yeah, we talked about it in the other one, that you won the contest and were able to get the publishing, and have a publisher, which is a big help. Um,
Yes.
and I mean, so like, but then do you have like, there's physical copies that are out that are at, like, you can go and get
Yes.
at bookstores. Um, do you do you have any at your place? Do you keep like a small amount to, like, for when you go out and you're like, hey, I need to give you one of these, or someone's like, hey, can I buy one of those? Like, well, actually, here you go. I have some, and then pull out the pen and
You know, I
give the
I
old
don't uh, yeah, I do have a couple copies left, and I think the paperback is running low, so I probably need to order more for those for Amazon. But I actually like people to buy it on the platforms because then they can leave me a review.
That's a good point. And yeah, I mean, those
Yeah.
reviews, like with Amazon, is one of those things, like you have people that will send you stuff for a review. They'll like send you, I've gotten free stuff to leave a review for it, um,
Mm,
which is cool, I guess.
I
Uh,
guess, yeah.
but yeah, like, you gotta, there's a lot of games to play. And it's a weird way to do things, but if you know how to do it, it's great. And so then, are you getting like, I don't know. So I've talked about this with, I think, some of the other dating coaches and life coaches of sorts. Like, um, have you gotten people that are like, that you've had to turn away because they, for some reason, probably shouldn't be working with you? Something like someone that comes off as odd, or um, I guess, because I don't know, because I assume that there's sometimes where it's like, or somebody else that you can refer them to, or is that like a thing with you? Do you refer off people? Like, do you hang with other people in your
Industry.
industry?
Yeah. I do know lots of other people in my industry, and I've had people refer to me. I've referred a couple of people out, especially like if it's a guy who wants support. I have coached men before, but if they're looking for a guy, because they feel more comfortable, I have male friends in the industry who I highly recommend to them. So um, yeah, because there's a lot of dating coaches who are just kind of general dating coaches. And it's like, I can do the general dating. My zone of genius is offline dating. So I am the go-to for anything offline dating. So I've had people come to me, be referred to me for that. But if someone needs online dating help, I've referred people out to an online dating coach friend. I had a woman who had some sexual trauma, so I don't help with that. She needed to get support with that before I could even help her with dating. So I referred her out to someone that I know. But for the most part, people are pretty clear on what I do, and something in my materials, in my blog, in my free resources has spoken to them, and they know that they want to work with me. And for the most part, I want to work with everyone who comes to me. I've only had a couple of experiences where it's like, I don't want to, like, do you even want to be here? Why are you here?
Right. And you're like, okay, well, I guess we can do this, but yeah, it's not going to
No,
benefit
it's
you
hard
what
no.
I normally would be able to offer someone. And it's
They just don't have a good attitude, or they take out their problems on me as if I've had the easiest life and everything has been fucking unicorns and rainbows for me to get where I am, which not the case, and I'm very open about that as well. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to be a sounding board for your anger. Go hire a therapist. But if you want help and you're willing to work with me and not just try to like lowball me or cancel at the last minute repeatedly, and you respect me, that absolutely we can work together.
yeah, I've come across some of those too. The low balls and the like. It's not like I can work with you a little bit, but like, what are you really trying to do here? And yeah, or people that don't show. I just like I don't know because I have that on here too, and sometimes just like it depends, I guess, what the follow up is after that. The follow up I get from them, it usually depends on that how that goes. Because
And I
like
think
if
I
yeah,
allow one cancellation, that's fine. But absolutely, you're right, Rusty. It's how you handle it that is so much more important to me. I'm willing to be flexible if something happens, but if you come in with entitlement and just cancel at the last minute and and demand another, no,
yeah,
no, those are the worst clients anyway.
right. And yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna miss that guy right there. Like,
Yeah,
no, I'm all right. You think about it too afterwards. It's like, gosh, it would have been nice to have, that spot filled, but then it's like, not with that
not worth it.
person, not
Yeah.
with that person. And then yeah, maybe they'll come back later and maybe they change their attitude, or maybe they won't, and maybe who knows. But the world's an interesting place.
Yes.
And yeah, so you're getting out though now. You found which I don't know, that sounds like a pretty good idea of what you're doing, how you're doing that. And yeah, you got places to be, places to stay, and I mean, yeah, it seems pretty worth it. And
Yeah.
so you were in the UK last summer, right?
Yes.
Something
Yeah. And
that
just for context, so I've been like house sitting around. I put all my stuff in storage and I've been traveling around doing house sits, which has been amazing. And so yeah, I'm outside of Portland right now. And but yeah, to your point, Rusty, I was in the UK all summer, which for 3 months, in France, which was just awesome.
so your stuff's in storage right now?
Yes. Yeah. All my stuff, all my furniture, cookware, everything.
Oh, and so do you, I mean, do you have any reason to like get it out and get places, or does that seem like something that's like, I don't want to do that? Like this is
That's
way,
not, it's not right now. No, it's a hard no. I just want to keep traveling and have this freedom and I can work from anywhere. And I met the most amazing people in the UK. I don't know if I told you this, but I just had this amazing experience in this little village in Hampshire. And I made friends with the family that I was house sitting for. I made friends in the village. And then I actually went back in December for 2 weeks because one of them invited me to their Christmas party. And I was like, Yeah, I want to do that. So,
Yeah, I'll fly to
um,
the UK for a Christmas party.
yes, exactly. And
Okay.
I made a 2-week trip out of it. And, it just, I had the best time. I spent time between this little Jane Austen village in Hampshire and London at Christmas time. I mean, it was just a magical trip.
And so then, so all you have to do is pay for the transportation there, and then everything's taken care of then after that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I buy my own food too, but otherwise,
Okay. But
yeah,
okay, so you're paying for food, but then so it's like a flat, like that's what there's not like extra pay on it as well. It's just like you stay here, you get
yes,
to that's the payment. That's a great fucking payment to not have to pay for rent
exactly.
when you think about it, like how
Yes.
much, yeah, you're uh saving on that part. And
And that's why
so
I'm really
yeah.
picky about what I choose because you can look at some of the houses, people don't even put away their laundry before putting their pictures up there. I'm like, hard no. Like,
Yeah.
this is representing you, you know? I mean, you can compare it to dating apps, I guess. If someone's going to put a picture of them when they haven't even showered or anything, it's like, wow, that's how much effort you want to put into this? No.
Yeah.
So, I apply only to houses that are clean and bright and, you know, one dog or two cats max. I'm not, a free freaking farmhand.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So then you get, I mean, people with usually one dog or a couple of cats usually pretty, you know, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, I guess, with where you
It's all
could
over.
be.
It's fascinating to see people's houses on here. Like some people, you're like, oh no, I don't want to spend 2 weeks in this house. No.
Right. So it's sort of like you know, you could always say that, I guess, and make it like, uh, yeah, like a Zillow, like, hold on to all the pictures and stuff. And then when they want to move, be like, hey, this is their place. This is what it's like. Probably, yeah, probably wouldn't be
But they have reviews and stuff just like Airbnb, so they'd only be able to get away with that once. If it looked completely different when the person showed up, that would be reflected in the review. Hmm.
okay. And, so, I mean, there's enough people, I guess there's enough people in the world who just aren't there. Just like, I mean, are you
They're
doing the same thing
traveling.
with your place, or did you stop your lease? Or do you have, I guess you don't have anything,
I don't have anything. No, my
any
stuff's in
pets?
storage. So yeah, I have no pets. I put my stuff in storage. Um, so yeah, I'm living a simple life. I'm able to focus on my work, which is wonderful, and travel and have fun with that. Finally joined a gym because I'm finally in the same place for a few months because this is a longer house sit, so I can get back in shape.
How's that going? How's the gym life?
It's great. It's really nice. When I was in corporate America and I lived in Chicago, I was a block and a half from a gym, so I was very fit. And you know this about me, Rusty, I'm an all or nothing OCD, black and white kind of thinker. And so if I can't get into a routine and go regularly to the gym, I just won't go at all because it's just not worth it. It's like I won't half-ass anything, including the gym. So now that
Y-
I'm a 3-minute drive away from it, it's open 24 hours. I've gotten into a routine. I'm doing the meal planning and the tracking and the steps and things like that. So I've really enjoyed it.
So what time of the day do you go?
I go in the morning because I like to just get it done with, and then I can have the rest of the day to have calls and work on stuff without having to psych myself up to go to the gym. It's just done.
Not like at 3 a.m., or are you waking up at 3 a.m.?
Oh, hell no. No, you can
No.
pay me.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean the gym, yeah, it's difficult to get going. Um, Especially if it's been a bit, or they're not, yeah, super close, or there's always something like a reason not to go to the gym. But yeah,
Exactly. But when you
you
just
know,
make it a habit, you just You just go, you don't really think about it. I have my routine now, so I can just kind of plug in, get it done. Because if I have to think about something every single day, it's exhausting and I won't do it. But if I can create a habit, know exactly what I need to do when I show up, knock it out and go home, I will do it.
So then how does that part then relate to your business?
Mm.
Uh, is that something that I feel is sort of in there in the could be very helpful um when you're kind of doing anything with that. Is there a good overlap there? Does that help you out having that kind
Like
of
the mindset of the habit with my business, is that your
yeah,
question? Yeah, I think so. It's interesting. That's kind of like if we talk masculine, feminine energy, that's like a masculine approach, which is like, doing things and making them happen and visual and all that stuff. And so I do that in the business side of my business because I do, like I update my website, I write my blogs, I post them, I create content, all these things that I have to just do and get done and get off my plate. That's masculine. But in the feminine, when I'm coaching someone, I'm the opposite almost. I'm just very open. I'm listening. I'm feeling. I'm empathizing. So it's a really nice balance. I don't have to be all in one or the other because I think a lot of people kind of settle down in one end of the spectrum. And if you like, there's dating coaches out there who are like, be the divine goddess. You are just, you know, the wisdom of the elder. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like that sounds great. What the fuck does that mean? And how are people supposed to like do anything with that and actually believe that? Because actually believing that is hard work.
that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to truly believe you are a divine goddess, because
Right.
we're biased to the negative. Like that, if you're telling someone who needs to hear that, they're probably down here, and what you're telling them they need to be is up here. If you don't give them the tools to bridge that gap, that's irresponsible of you.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
one
good
side.
enough. I'm smart enough, and I'm a divine goddess. Uh,
Yeah, like
you
that'll
know.
get you maybe from here to here, but it's not going to get you to genuinely feeling that way. So that's one side. And the other side is like, go, 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 do it. Making $1 million is easy, bro. Crypto. Like, there's like that's the other end of the spectrum. And
Yeah,
that's not the answer either, because I've hung out in both ends of the spectrum. So
and crypto goes. Um, yeah, the old crypto. That's a different story. That was weird. That was a weird time. Um, uh, I ended
yeah.
up cryptoing for a bit. I cryptoed, bro, and it went well, but eh,
Yeah.
then it was over, and I was like, okay, now what? Um, good. I got rid of this thing. But yeah, I mean, it's do you like if you're kind of all in, like, which I mean, not kind of, but you are like, where's your stop point for the day, or is there a stop point, or is there like, is it always going? Is there, you got your phone, you got, oh, here's an idea, oh, here's a booking, or are you like 7 o'clock p.m. It goes off, put it away. 8 o'clock in the morning, get it. Don't look at it, and then 9 o'clock a.m. Less work, anything like that.
No, I'm pretty bad about boundaries because my work is my life, my life is my work, and that won't be that way forever, but that's just where I am right now. And so um if I'm on a roll, like I was working until like 10 o'clock at night the other night just because I didn't want to stop this momentum. I wanted to get this project done so that the next day I could work on other things. And then other times it'll be 3:30 in the afternoon and I'm like, I'm mentally done. I'm done. Like this other project I wanted to do by end of day is not going to get done. Move it to tomorrow. So I
Yeah.
yeah, I build out my to-dos and I try to be realistic about what I can accomplish every single day. Sometimes you get into a project and it ends up taking a couple of days or longer. But then I'll just kind of move things around and push them out. So I know the order of things that I need to get done. How long they take can be subjective.
Yeah, and that's a fun one too. And it's when you get going on something and it's like, well, I guess I'm not gonna sleep tonight. Uh
And sometimes it's worth it. And I
yeah,
think building that habit is like, if you do it for like weeks in a row, it's like, are you really working on something that needs to be done at 4 a.m? But if it's once in a while and you're on a roll, do it.
yeah. Sometimes you need to. And it's it's important. It's important to do those. It's like, yeah, sometimes like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna be working until then. It's there, so let's do it. I'll probably lose it if I don't. So
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I mean it's crazy what the brain does and what the what it doesn't, uh and how it reacts with, I don't know, with anything. Like I saw a thing that when, like, if you have like a I don't know, because like now I got into like the this brain stuff. uh
Hmm.
well, I mean, yeah, I don't know, because I see like people saying, I don't know, I had this guest on the other day who was like, uh because like I don't know, because like now there's the terms like they, autism, but like
Divergent.
typical neurodivergent,
Mhm.
all that stuff. um but it was interesting to like hear about that and hear kind of what you know and then one of the things that I heard then too was that if your brain's kind of that way, and that uh like opiates make your brain like just fire and go, um which was a weird thing, and gives you like a lot of energy, which is like the opposite of what it does for other people. Like the same thing with that's like with Adderall and stuff and all that, how it makes a person, um some people just normal or whatever kind of a thing. But I don't know, it's interesting why people do things the way they do and how our brains are best to work. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I got told a lot of times like I'm doing this wrong, and like, now it's nice being 40. I mean, I'm 41, but however old, but like, learning some of this stuff now, like, oh, okay, here's a better way to do things. Like what you were doing wasn't, there's other people that were doing that, which was
Totally.
kind of cool. And like, cause yeah, like when it, back in the day, it was just like, oh, okay,
Yeah. You and I,
sorry.
just for context for the listeners, you and I were both different from the average person, if we can say that.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
am actually neurodivergent. I am obsessive compulsive. I got an official diagnosis. So
Okay. All right. And uh so what, okay, so side note on it. So what happened? What how did that go? Like were you talking with someone, or did you say like, hey, I'm seeing a lot of,
I've always, yeah, I've always known. So just because you don't have a diagnosis doesn't mean that you aren't the thing. And I've always known. I mean, I don't have like a hyper cleansing of my hands, but you know me, like we lived 3 houses away from each other for many, many years in our formative years. I'm very, very, very organized. And that actually not only shows up, physically with things, it's repeated thoughts. And I've learned that through therapy. So I asked my therapist for can you officially diagnose me? She's like, I already have. Like, okay.
okay.
So there we go. But it explains a lot. Oh, it just makes sense. And the more I read about OCD, the more I see how it translates to be also being highly sensitive. Because obviously, when you're highly sensitive, you're overwhelmed a lot, just emotionally and physically. I'm very sensitive to temperatures, to light, to noises. And emotionally, my spectrum's like this, as opposed to most people's is probably like this, which makes me very good at what I do. But when I'm going through a breakup, it also is more painful than anyone can imagine.
Yep.
So just knowing that about myself has been super, super helpful so I can play to my strengths. I know what I'm going through is I feel valid in my feelings, but I also know that I'm not going to feel that way forever. So I can work with it. So it's been really helpful to learn about that. And you were different in a different way. I mean, how would you describe how your difference from our average peers were?
I mean, I was like, for example, like one of the things was like with, you know, math is a stupid thing. I would get in trouble a lot with that for getting the answer a different way and not showing my work. That was something that was tough. And I was just like, I don't know. It's just how I do it. I do a lot of things my way. I hold my pencil a certain way. I hold my pencil like this. I don't know if people can see that, like whatever that is, whatever
Oh,
kind of
interesting.
claw grip
Here's,
thing that is.
yeah,
Like,
I'm claw grip too in a different way.
yeah. And like it is what it is. And like and memory has like short-term memory has always been pretty poor. And like if I like something, I like it and I go into it. I go into it pretty hard. And yeah, like, and with like the high highs, low lows in the and there are definitely those. But I mean, you can't have the high highs without the low lows. And
True.
you can't
Yeah.
can't like work hard like all the time and then not have
Mm.
the time where it's like I can't do a fucking thing. I'm just gonna sit here, put a heating
Yeah.
pad on and fucking chill out. And yeah,
It
I don't
has to
know.
be in balance. Yeah. And that's where it's like knowing when you actually do need to just take a day and sit on the heating pad and do nothing versus, oh, that sounds really nice because I'm kind of avoiding this other thing that I know that I have to do. So it's
Right.
nuanced. And I had to learn that because I would be so extreme where I didn't want to be the person sitting on the heating pad because I was worried I want to do this forever. So I would never do it. But sometimes you have to do it and trust yourself that it's okay. You'll go back to work the next day, but you need a day of rest.
Yeah, and getting to that day of rest, like it's something I probably didn't get to until just recently. Like, because I'd be like, I have to be doing something. I, have to go. And then and my therapist like, why? Why do you have to? Like, no, you don't. Like,
You're like,
well, no,
because I do. That's
I
my
have,
identity.
yeah, I have fucking go. That's my thing. And like, no, you don't need to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll believe you.
But then I
I'll
have to
try
be
it
alone with
out.
my thoughts and
Right.
what's going to come up.
Yeah. Or the going to bed with TV or something on,
Yeah.
doing that one. Or waiting until the last minute to do anything.
Yep.
Like, yeah, back to school, like any assignment was like, oh, you have a week. Why? When are you going to start? Not now. I'm good. I'll wait. And then yeah, I'm up till whatever, finishing it up on the bus in the morning on the way to school. And what you gonna do? Um,
Yep.
like yeah. And another thing too, like so at the gym in Connecticut, there was this girl at the front desk, probably like, I don't know, she's a high school or something, but she would always have on headphones, like big old headphones, like cat ear headphones, like um at the front desk, and I'm like,
Great reception.
yeah. But like, if I had so many jobs where it's like I couldn't, but if I would have had that going on, I feel like I would have done a lot better at some of those jobs because like when I'm out, uh, if I go like wherever I go walking, if I go walking at the grocery store or the at the mall or whatever, I do like to have on, some headphones of some sort.
Yeah.
But it's usually, yeah, I mean, I don't want big ones. I don't, because then
Don't
yeah,
talk to me, headphones.
right. Those, yeah, and I don't want that. I want, like, if people want to come up to me and then they're like, why aren't you listening? I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me pull this out. And,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, but I don't know. I was like, yeah, I think that could have been a nice thing to have those headphones, or, some sort of something, have some music playing. Did you worked some customer service though at some point? You did, or did you really ever have a customer service job?
Not really. I did like I did volunteering and things like that where I would just, whoever walked up, that's who you know, help, but not really professionally. But I was thinking the same thing. Like when I lived in Chicago for 10 years, I didn't have a car, I rode public transportation, and I have misophonia, which is part of like, literally means hatred of sound. I can't hear someone chewing gum. If they're talking too loudly, it literally causes physical pain in me if I hear too loud of a noise. Um, and I would not have been able to survive earlier, like my mom's generation, going on public transportation, being at the whim of everyone who wanted to do whatever they wanted, and they didn't have headphones. Granted, they didn't have phones either, but
Right.
you know,
But yeah, but then there's people that like you or I would both be on the public transportation and take our headphones off and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Because like
yes.
there's our people. Um, Not everyone's our people, and like not everyone. Like sometimes it's just like I'm just in my zone. But like, yeah, if you want to talk to someone, you can take the headphones off pretty easily and just
Yeah.
uh, you know, uh,
Oh yeah, I've gotten dates on public transportation, so it can
what
happen, and sometimes
what
you
was
just
that
leave
like?
one headphone out.
Well, I'm curious on this. I have I've gotten dates on the public
Yes, you
transportation,
have.
but I haven't had a date on public transportation. I mean, I've gone on public transportation during the date, but was it specifically ride public transportation was the date?
No, no, no. I met the guy on public transportation. So I got a date on public.
Oh,
And so did you. You met an ex on a bus, didn't you?
a couple, a couple, right at the same time. Not like at the same time, but like same
Same
time period.
season.
This was, yeah, this was like I think I would say consecutive relationships on the bus.
The bus
Uh,
driver's like, oh, here comes Rusty.
yeah,
He's on the
that's like
prowl.
yeah, he's on the prowl. He's gonna sit like, hey, what's up? I'm on the
Here's
bus.
Rusty walks on the bus.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
How you doing?
Yeah, so where were you? What were you doing to get that going? To
The date. So
yeah.
the one that comes to mind, I had taught a workshop, dating workshop, and I was coming home on the L train in Chicago. And it was, I don't know, it was like 9:30 or 10 o'clock on a weeknight, so it wasn't super crowded. And I had my headphones in, and there were a lot of empty seats. And I saw this guy get on, and I saw him just kind of glance at me. I was like, oh, game on. So
Wow.
I took out my headphones and I put my arm over the seat next to me just to be very open, like literally open body language. And I just sat there. Which for anyone who's under 35, they're like, oh my God, you just sat there and didn't look at your phone. How did you survive? Like, because millions of years of people would just sit there without a phone and never died from it. But
Yeah.
I just did that. And then sure enough, he sits down a few seats over and says, "Hey, I like your jacket." I was like, "Oh, thank you. I got it in Turkey." And then I just started talking. And then what was hilarious though is um he I gave signals that my ride was coming up because we started chatting. And then as my stop was coming up. When my stop finally came and I'm literally like by the door because we were having a good conversation, he's like, "Oh, here's my email." And he like shouts his email to me because I was getting off the train. And luckily I had a good memory and I wrote it down, but I thought that was really funny.
Was it an easy one to remember? Or was it like uh John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt 1497 I like turtles at you know yahoo.com.
Yeah, no, it was fairly easy. I'd say about 8 characters or something.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good. You can yell that. That's probably easier than a phone number.
Yeah.
Less less things than a phone number. And um so with offline dating, because I mean, phone is still a thing. Like, where's communication? Like, how do you kind of navigate that once you've started with the offline dating and going in, uh, seeing scary people in the world and doing that, and then like, do people go back instinctually to their phone and be like, I'm going to we're just gonna text for hours. Is that on hours? And is that something? Or are you like, hey, get off of there, go out and go see them or call them?
Yeah,
Call
I
them.
mean, the text, I'm not anti-technology. I mean, I have an
Right.
iPhone. We're on Zoom right now. I have an email account.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't fly you in
but
for this one
yes,
for to come into the studio and record.
that's right. Yeah, only offline. Yeah, that would be very hard to do in our world. You wouldn't survive.
Uh-uh. No,
But
I love not having an office. Um,
yeah,
it's the
it,
best.
it's great. And so, it's just balance with technology. Texting should be a means to an end. You should not, and I am completely guilty of this, but you should not have conversations over text message. I mean, from it takes longer to type your thoughts out to you're going to be misinterpreted. I mean, it's just get on the damn phone, or meet up in person if it's getting into that. But texting is fine. A little how's your day going? Meet me at this spot, running late, whatever. But if it's turning into a conversation, get on the phone. So people just use technology as a crutch and then they wonder why things are not their communication skills aren't good or they don't come across the way that they want to. And it's like you have to be in person or hear the person's voice on the phone or see them on video at least to really get a sense of what's going on.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that they say that they can communicate a lot better with texts and stuff because they can get their thoughts right and stuff. But it's like, but then you're missing out though this huge part of everything that like
Yeah.
98% of communication is nonverbal.
Yeah.
So seeing text like, okay, I don't know
I
how you
think for
mean.
someone who's kind of like an avoidant personality, that can kind of be, or if you really need to explain something, I'm all about like writing a letter or getting your thoughts out. But if
Yeah,
that's your norm, something's not right.
yeah. So what's your letter writing like? Do you write people? Do you like pull out a letter or do you do postcards or anything like that? I I sometimes do. I sometimes do. I like to write letters or postcards, but uh I don't know, not so much postcards anymore because it's kind of weird now. Um I don't know. If I did a postcard, I feel like I would put a postcard and then I put it in an envelope and send it that way because
It's a personal message that anyone can read.
right, that anyone can read. The mailman can read that and then like there's the informed delivery thing, like anybody else that lives at your house can like read that. Like if you live in like maybe you're living in a commune with like 60 people, and you got like everyone has a phone on the commune, and they're like,
I feel
"Oh,
like that the invasion of privacy of reading someone's postcard is probably the least invasive thing that happens at a commune.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah." I've been getting into some stuff, not the commune or anything, but like I got into some. There was a bunch of cult documentaries I got into a while back ago, but yeah, yeah, a side note. But so and I won't get into cults or anything. Uh, maybe that's a different podcast,
Different
different
episode.
day. Yeah. But so I guess yeah, I can wrap this up. So to get uh I don't know, because you could be anywhere in the world and people can find you
Mhm.
uh on the internet, and it's probably not that hard to find you on the internet, but how might they do that?
They can go to masterofflinedating.com and see I've got free resources, blogs, things like that. They can find my book, The Offline Dating Method, on Amazon and order it from there. I have two versions. One is dark blue cover, written for women who want to attract men. One is a light blue cover for all genders and orientations.
Cool. I just sold my first book on Amazon.
Hey,
I got a
congrats.
message. Oh, thank you. It's a children's book. Uh, I found out I'm going to write a sequel to.
Awesome. What's the name of it?
I don't remember. That's so bad. I don't
Okay.
remember what it's called. Um, but it has a good message. So uh, I don't know. I don't know if I can find that or not. My account. Oh yes, here we go. I can tell you what it is. Shoot. Ooh, here we go. It is called. Uh, Here, I guess I'll just pop this up real quick. Oops. I'm sorry. I'll get you out of here in a minute. I just
Okay.
gotta show you. So it's called PP Free Poolside Palooza by Rusty Diamond.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so I sold it. I guess I got a thing yesterday. I made it a while back because I was going to a lot of places, and I like water slides, and people like to pee in there. So I went to Great Wolf Lodge a week or two ago, and I had this thing like I went underwater uh, in the lazy river, and it got salty. And so it made me think I gotta write a fucking sequel to this book because the word hasn't gotten out enough. Um, but uh, yeah. Anyway, so but thank you for coming on here, and we should do this more than it's been a long time, more than like I don't know. I'll get you on like 3 or 6 month plan here for the show so we can talk more. Um,
That sounds
because
good.
yeah, because yeah, we should know each other for a long time. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for being on, Camille, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Uh,
Thanks, Rusty.
you
Take
bet.
care.
You too. All right. That is Camille Virginia. You can check her out. You don't need to check out my book, but you should check out her book because her book is not something that is was thrown together very fast. Hers is good. I read it. So, not I read it like REDDIT, like I guess it'd be a comma in there. I comma read it maybe. Um, I read it. I liked it, and it's good. And I like that you got to get out. You got to get out. And I like that she's down with that. So, thank you everyone for listening here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. And that is the show. Man, boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.